After you escape an abusive relationship, love looks completely different. What you once thought was normal, you now recognize as toxic. What you once accepted as passion, you now see as manipulation. Everything changes. Your understanding of what love is, what it feels like, what it requires, it all transforms. And that transformation saves you. Here's how love looks different now. Love is quiet. Before, you thought love had to be intense, dramatic, all-consuming, constant highs and lows, grand gestures and explosive fights. You thought the chaos meant you cared deeply, but now you know that real love is calm. It's steady. It's predictable in the best way. There's no walking on eggshells, no bracing for the next explosion, no emotional whiplash. Love is quiet, and that quietness is safety. It's peace, and you've learned that peace isn't boring. It's healing. Love is consistent. Before, love felt conditional, available only when you performed correctly, only when you met the right standards, only when you were useful. You never knew which version of them you'd get, the sweet one or the cruel one. And you thought that unpredictability was just how relationships were. But now you know that real love is consistent. It shows up the same way every day. It doesn't disappear when you have a bad day or make a mistake. It doesn't punish you for being human. Love is steady, reliable, and you've learned that consistency is how trust is built. Love makes you bigger, not smaller. Before, love required you to shrink, to be quieter, less opinionated, more accommodating. You edited yourself constantly to avoid conflict, to keep the peace, to be lovable. And you thought that's what compromise meant. But now you know that real love expands you. It celebrates your voice. It encourages your growth. It wants you to be fully yourself. Love doesn't ask you to dim your light. It helps you shine brighter. And you've learned that the right person doesn't need you to be smaller. They need you to be you. Love respects boundaries. Before, boundaries were a problem. Any limit you tried to set was met with guilt, anger, or punishment. You learned that having needs was dangerous. That saying no caused chaos. That protecting yourself meant you didn't love them enough. But now you know that real love respects boundaries. It doesn't just tolerate them. It honors them. It thanks you for being clear about what you need. Love doesn't make you feel guilty for having limits. It appreciates them. And you've learned that boundaries aren't walls that keep love out. They're the foundation that lets love thrive. Love feels safe. Before, you were always anxious, always monitoring, always trying to predict their mood so you could adjust accordingly. You never relaxed, never felt secure, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And you thought that anxiety was just part of caring deeply. But now you know that real love feels safe. You can be vulnerable without fear of it being used against you. You can make mistakes without being punished. You can have bad days without being abandoned. Love is a safe place to land. And you've learned that if you can't relax into it, it isn't love. Love takes accountability. Before, everything was your fault. If they hurt you, it was because you provoked them. If they lied, it was because you made them. If the relationship struggled, it was because you weren't enough. They never took responsibility, never genuinely apologized, never changed. But now you know that real love takes accountability. It says I'm sorry and means it. It acknowledges harm without deflecting. It makes real changes, not just promises. Love owns its mistakes. And you've learned that someone who can't apologize can't truly love you. Love wants you to be happy. Before, your happiness was threatening. If you were too happy without them, they'd sabotage it. If you found joy in something they weren't part of, they'd diminish it. Your contentment made them uncomfortable because they needed you to need them. But now you know that real love wants you to be happy, even in ways that have nothing to do with them. It celebrates your joy, encourages your passions, supports your independence. Love doesn't need you to be miserable to feel needed. And you've learned that the right love adds to your happiness. It doesn't require your unhappiness to exist. Finally, love is a choice, not a prison. Before, love felt like chains. You couldn't leave even when you wanted to. You felt trapped by guilt, by obligation, by fear. You stayed not because you wanted to, but because you felt you had to. But now you know that real love is a choice you make freely every day. You stay because you want to, not because you're afraid to go. Love doesn't hold you hostage. It gives you freedom. And you've learned that choosing to stay is only meaningful when you're also free to leave. This is how love looks different after you escape abuse. Quieter, consistent, expansive, respectful, safe, accountable, joyful, free. And once you know what real love looks like, you'll never again mistake chaos for passion or control for care. You've learned the difference, and that knowledge protects you forever. Thank you for being here. If this resonated, share it, and subscribe to Wisdom from Today to Then. You deserve real love, not the counterfeit you survived.